Thank you, my dear listener, for having tuned into 101.9 High FM to listen to Sunset Serenade, the 3-hour journey of deconstructing jazz music. My name is Saul Molobi. Let me thank you for having tuned at 5 and walking this journey with me up to so far. And I do believe that you are not going to regret it, because with me in the studio right now is Itskwena. Yes, that's her stage name, but her real name is Kwena Mokokong. Welcome, Kwena.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, I'm so excited, and I guess even my listeners can hear it in my voice, especially that I just started by welcoming you with a laughter. But you do know in Setswana, which is my mother tongue, we say the person's sociability is realized through her laughter. And sometimes they'll even say dimples, because dimples will then represent someone who is forever smiling. And I remember when I was young, I will come to my house to introduce my new girlfriend to my mom. And she used to say, okay, she has dimples. It means she's a very good person. And that for me told me that actually she meant she wasn't that beautiful, but because she was sociable and likable, so it's okay, she could accept it. I'm saying this anecdote simply because Sunset Serenades is all about love, and we are celebrating love. And this evening, we are paying tribute to Kipi Mwekezi and Pet Machikiza, our veteran musicians. But it's not about them right now. This is your time. Tell our listeners who Itskwena is.
Itskwena is a creator from Pretoria, South Africa, and I really find myself being an experimenter of the arts and the creative space. I go from playing music to painting to writing to various art forms that I feel would best express my feelings, my thoughts at that point in time. So in summary, I'd say Gwen is a creator. Um, and yeah.
Yes, I've read your bio on your website. I realized that you are an accountant, and this shook me a bit because I was saying accountants, the numbers people, usually are not as sociable and lively as you are. And perhaps I must also say I like accountants because usually they buy artworks on behalf of corporates. So they see art as an investment. But I never imagined an accountant singing and composing music and being in fashion, like you are. So tell us about that transition.
So currently, I am living in both worlds, both the finance, accounting, business, and also the creative side of things. I find that both sides bring different kinds of stimulation to me. The creative space allows me to be free, to express myself the way I feel I need to. And the finance space, it really challenges me in other ways, thinking logically, solving problems. And I find both very interesting. And in some way or shape or form, they've found a way to, I guess, cross paths with me or come into alignment with me. But yeah, they both equally work to my benefit in the music business space because it is a business as well. So that has helped me greatly to have discipline, to be, committed, to finish the projects that I start. So they complement each other is what I'm trying to say. And I love them both.
In fact, I imagine a chartered accountant, you are also auditing their creative process. Are you able to come up with a final product on time, meeting your deadline, if you have to go and audit the entire process and document?
That's very funny. I have this sort of quote that I've just written for myself, and I guess it speaks to, I guess, the challenges that I've had before around being a perfectionist, or wanting things to be exactly right. And I think that comes from the finance side and that discipline. But when it comes to the creative space, I always say to myself, the outcome may not be perfect, but it will be beautiful. And so that's the intention when I'm creating art and when I'm sort of, relaying a message or an experience that I've been through. I mean, in life, we'll always have challenges and, things that may set us back, but I think it is up to us to find the beauty in that. And so art has sort of helped me create that beauty from those challenges. And I've been able to find a space that I can be myself. And that in itself is liberating. So when I'm creating work, I don't aim for perfection. So I'm not auditing myself. I am just creating a beautiful piece that will either inspire somebody, take someone, on a journey of reflection and healing, or whichever, experience. Maybe they're in the car, they're just enjoying the music and having a good time. So yeah, that's really how I I take it on. So it's very different.
No, as a music fan and a music consumer, I would say that I give this chartered accountant an unqualified audit in terms of the quality of their output. Your creative output, it's out of this world. And for me, I'm very excited because you represent that emerging generation, which is going to replace our veteran musicians, Bo Mira Makeba, Bo Dorothy Masuka, Bo Dolly Ratebe. And for me, it also says to me that it means jazz will always be alive because we have musicians like you, are continuing with the legacy of our forebears. Let's talk about your lyrics. What inspires them?
My lyrics are inspired, one, by my personal experiences, my observation of other people, and also my aim to, I guess, what's the word? With regards to me writing Gasipedi or Sizulu or, the English language is there, but I want to sort of preserve, that's the right word, preserve our native languages in some form that I can. That is I feel like that's my contribution to the world. And then the other inspirations, like I've said, it's personal experiences, it's my observation of the world and my viewpoint as a young African, and how I'm seeing and living in this moment in time. So I try to aim to capture the times that we're living in through my lens or my perspective.
Yeah, my listeners will tell you that I'm a student of the dialectics of culture, where I say we don't celebrate our roots or where we come from, but we also celebrate what we have become. And in your case, celebrating the contemporary basically means you are also celebrating the dynamism of our culture, because it isn't frozen in the 19th or 20th century. It is forever evolving as a dynamic participant. So I love that, because also your music itself, it's also enriching our South African or African jazz idiom, because you don't just sound like our forebears, but you have brought so much improvement into the jazz rhythm, and you have given it that contemporary touch. Let's talk about your two most favorite songs, even though I know that you love all your songs. And yes, indeed, I love all your songs. But I think there should be two that stand out. And why those two?
So I'd say Maru, which is track 4 on the album, and the last track, which is Gifile. Maru specifically speaks to, I guess, me observing the current state of the world, the current state of South Africa, the continent. And I guess in certain aspects, I was just maybe reflecting on the great struggles that we still have today. And in that moment, it still brought me so much pain because um, one, I believe that we have one of the best countries in the world. And so to see that this country with so much potential is not managed as well as it should be. And there's so many young people who have talent and gifts and so much to give, but they're not given the opportunities to really, I guess, you know, um, nourish those talents and work on those gifts, and it's most of it is purely by, I guess, what I perceive to be selfishness or greed, people pushing their own personal agendas. And I guess I took a moment to say, looking at everything now, the state of the country and where we are, I said, this brings me so much sadness. Um, but at the end of it, I speak to say, even when there's rain, there's a lesson that we can learn. Even when there's rain, there's the rains come with blessing. And so let me try find the beauty in this experience and make the most of it. And so with Gifilwe, I talk about the gifts that we've all been blessed with. Gifilwe means I have been given. And what I simply say is that we've all been gifted in different ways. And I took a moment to one, acknowledge my gifts, but also see the gifting in others. That one that they have blessed me with in my life, and I in turn to use my gift to bless others. And so that's the message, really, that we are all gifted and blessed, and God has given us these gifts, and we should be using our gifts to, I guess, make the world better, even if it's just a small square meter where you're staying, whether it's sharing your talents, starting a business, or however you feel would best improve your environment if you can. So yeah.
I'm so glad that you have chosen the two songs because as we are talking, Kifilwe is playing in the background, which means then that at the end of this interview, I will be playing Mar. And by the way, I will see Letambulu and Kefa Semenya speak about Maru is the sign of happiness, Maru Apula. And Bessie Head, one of my favorite authors, wrote a seminal novel, Maru, which at one stage was a prescribed book for matric. And even though she talks about the thunderstorms just before the rainfall, but we do know that that represents a new beginning, a new season, and to a large extent, it represents wealth and abundance. Now, in short, just give a message to our listeners, and perhaps by describing yourself to our listeners.
Can you please repeat that?
I'm
Describing?
saying, just give a short message to our listeners. And whilst you do that, also describe yourself to say, this is Itskwena, I'm so and so, so and so. I love 1, 2, 3. And my message to you, my dear listener, is 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Itskwena. I am a creative entrepreneur and recording artist. My message to your listeners is that do the best that you can where you are, and that even though things may not look like what they should be at this point in time, use this opportunity to build on to what's the things that you want to have in life. And I guess this is a message to everybody. Really, it's not just to young people, but those who are also young at heart, who are still striving for their goals and dreams and hope to see a better future.
Thank you very much. And how do our listeners get hold of you? Any social
Uh,
media handles?
You're welcome to contact me or check out more of my music and other creative projects on www.itskwena.com or at Itskwena on all my social media platforms. That's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
In fact, my dear listener, I've visited one of her platforms and I was impressed that she had written Itskwena in lowercase. And this reminded me of the English poet E. E. Cummings, who represented humility during the era when poets were pompous. If you look at the history of English literature, especially during the Romanticism era. So I just love that because we do know that celebrated artists are always pompous, are not very humble. And here's one who has all the qualities to behave the way others who don't deserve to behave that way, to be behaving like her. She is an accomplished chartered accountant. She is an accomplished musician. Her lyrics are out of this world, very soul soothing, and her looks, my dear listener, are Hollywood material. Thank you for having joined us. And my dear listener, I'm going to leave you on a very high note with a piece titled Maru. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.